Welcome back in. Hour number 2, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning right here on Jocks. Watch live on YouTube. Search Jocks 945. Let's go to Matt Stinchcomb of the SEC Network. He was on call for Auburn at Vanderbilt last week. I want to start with that one, Stinch. What did you gather from the coaches about what may be different, they wanted to be different, they were trying to change, specifically on offense heading into that game?
Tempo. That was a big part of it. They wanted to be really aggressive with that. They wanted to really push the pace. They felt like they had opportunity to win that way. And they liked what they had with Daniels and his running ability. They knew that would have play an element in the football game, and all that was borne out. What we kind of anticipated and thought was, especially given the rock fight that they were in the week before with Kentucky, where maybe a little bit more copycat play calling relative to what gave Vanderbilt difficulty versus Texas, with a lot of the horizontal passing game, a lot of the now passes, and making Vanderbilt tackle in space. And they certainly had difficulty in that. We had them at 25 missed or broken tackles in that game, which was anomalous. But, typically what we've seen from Auburn, and this was kind of true throughout Hugh Freeze's career anyway, while at Auburn, was kind of some copycat play calling. So whatever gave you difficulty the week before, they massage that into their game plan somehow. And even the Vanderbilt coaches were anticipating a lot more of that. We didn't see hardly any of it. It was almost none of that.
So what was it you think that made Auburn so difficult to defend for a defense?
That's interesting.
Sorry, I think we lost him on the end there. Yeah, go ahead, G-Mac.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So, Stinch, tell me what you think. How repeatable was that recipe for Auburn's offense, you think, moving forward in these next few games?
I think they're committed to it, for sure. I do think that, early on in the game, especially, Ashton Daniels had to fix the play. So it wasn't as if all of a sudden they became this excellent protection team, although I do think they were better with Mason Murphy in there at center. That was maybe we probably didn't do a good enough job of pointing out the job that he did, moving from tackle to center. And they said that he'd been working there since Lou got injured, but just not a position that he spent time in other than out of necessity, and did a really good job. They had only one real procedural issue. I think he was late with the snap one time. Otherwise, was on target and on time. Looked like they were well coordinated. I do think that they can build off of that performance. Now, the difficulty will be is if they want to preserve Daniels' red shirt, they're not going to be able to do it versus Mercer. So they better get a lot of work done in the bye week. I think the biggest challenge for Auburn more than anything else is to keep this roster intact. And I don't mean guys aren't going to just not show up, but, that they don't just kind of bubble wrap themselves for the portal and say, I've been getting all kinds of messages and et cetera from other programs, and I'm going to go on ahead and turn the page, even though we got 2 games to play. I think the bye week couldn't have come at a worse time, actually. They put together a great performance offensively. It was an anomalous performance defensively. Cam Coleman probably made himself a lot of money, and not in the NFL, but the NIL, either at Auburn or somewhere else. But the biggest challenge, we talked about it yesterday or last night on the show, is maybe one of the toughest jobs in college football right now is the coach that doesn't have a game this Saturday, DJ Durkin and his staff. And that staff, too, is going to be distracted this week because those guys got to be looking around thinking where they're going to end up. Can Auburn kind of hold it together? Because if you can put together a performance like that offensively, and like you said, Greg, replicate it, even to some semblance of replication and return to form, then who knows how this season can end up. And, of course, that Iron Bowl becomes a lot more interesting if you can pull that off.
You mentioned Mason Murphy at center. When I'm watching the film, Stinch, that was one thing that stuck out right away. It just felt like there was more oomph in the middle of that offensive line. And some of that had to do, too, with 77 and 52 playing pretty physical football at guard. But what else, once you're in the game, you said you should have gone back, maybe talked about that more. What else did you see that felt different? What else stuck out to you that was a little bit different about just the team, maybe not even just the offense in general?
Well, I'll say, I'm not, I'm a line of scrimmage guy, run game, protection, passing concepts. I'm not spending a ton of time looking at the route tree and all that other business.
It really is a waste of time. I don't know why people even focus on it.
It's I don't even know why they do it. I mean, you just throw
Doesn't
it in
tell
the
the
air, guy
story at
goes
all.
up, he catches it. It's not even that tricky. But anyway, I mean, people make a big deal out of it. You know who doesn't make a big deal out of it? Everyone who talks about routes. Because know what they always say? Oh, it's just a little stick route. Everything's just a little. Oh, he's just going to run a little skinny post right here. No, just listen. All the quarterback, I don't know if you do it, Greg, but they all say, oh, it's just a little,
I do.
it's just a little smash concept over here. Oh, what do you run? Just a little sluggo. Just little. It's just, they dismiss it themselves. But what you do see is you watch that game and you're going, man, versus Kentucky, the route tree was a palm tree. It's like, where are the branches? Are we going to do we ever cut? Is it just hitches and goes? Because that's kind of how it looked. And it even stuck out to my little eyeballs. And I'll tell you, at halftime, I had a conversation with a guy who knows quite a bit about the passing offense in that team. And that stuck out to him as well. Wow, there's actually some concepts out here that you can build off. It's almost like Ashton Daniels understands a progression and is not just dropping back and praying. Versus Kentucky, they were just running to coverage. It was kind of hard to watch. And it was a night and day passing offense versus Vanderbilt. I think it goes well beyond just the tempo at which they were playing.
What do you make of Vanderbilt's all of a sudden regression defensively that we've seen the last couple weeks? And we've known that their secondary was not elite all season long, but it's really come to the forefront the last couple weeks with missed tackles and things like that. So is that something you think will ultimately keep them out of the playoff discussion, is the regression we've seen on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I do think it's concerning. The tackling was the biggest part. So we looked at it going in, and they were averaging about 10 missed or broken tackles. So either they're whiffing, which doesn't happen that much, or guys are just breaking their tackles. They weren't like towards the bottom of the league. For that, it was around kind of middle of the pack. Nothing that was too anomalous. And then you look at that Texas game, and there was 25 of them, and you think, wow. And what was interesting too in Texas, that first play of the game that Ryan Wingo takes to the house, it's the exact first play of the game that Texas ran versus Mississippi State. All they did was flip the tight end. He was H to the right side of the formation. He's attached to the left side of the formation. Otherwise, it's the same. Everything's the same. And they caught Vanderbilt in a slot pressure right out of the gate. And so great play call, et cetera. Well, then they replicated over and over and over again. And the whole idea was, let's make these guys tackle in space. Let's make these safeties spin down and try to, close space and make a tackle. And they just could not or just did not do that in that game. That was concerning. But what was, I think, adds to that was Auburn really didn't live off of that. They didn't do that. We were talking about that earlier. Is that we just thought that would be the easiest thing to do, is let's force Vanderbilt to do the same thing all over again. And maybe it was personnel driven, because Vanderbilt isn't necessarily built to be able to do that. Maybe Trey Richardson. But otherwise, it's not like they have some big guy like a Ryan Wingo that not only has speed, but it's got that big lower body that can run through tackles. So because of it, you're sitting there going, all right, maybe that's, if they don't do that, maybe it'll be a little bit more of a challenge versus Vandy. But Vandy had difficulty just about everywhere else, and that tempo really got to him. And the fact that he could extend plays, and if you could escape pressure, which they were finally able to start to get home there in the second half, then that secondary just couldn't hold up. And that's that proves problematic. A Kentucky game that looked like a layup, all of a sudden, and maybe just Florida no-showed, but maybe Kentucky's got teeth. We've known that they've overperformed from their personnel defensively. It's a solid defensive unit, but offensively, maybe finally with Cutter Boley and the reps that he's gotten, this offense can be a little bit more threatening. 38 points from Kentucky, so it's not like it's smooth sailing for Vanderbilt the rest of the way in. Kentucky certainly doesn't look like they've packed it in, and Tennessee, of course, awaits at the back end of the season. So they better figure it out, that's for sure, because the last 2 weeks, you pointed out, it hadn't looked great on the defensive side of the football.
Matt Stinchcomb joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. What is worst, just a little whatever route, or how the quarterback is buying time in the pocket?
What is worse as far as like our announcer crutches that we use?
Correct.
Or what
yes.
do you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I've got my own little crutches that I say all the time. See, there's another. I just throw in that little. It's not a big crutch. It's just a
Just a
little
little
crutch.
one. Yeah.
More like a kickstand, really.
Which for you feels even more
Um,
difficult, but I don't know how a little
yeah.
crutch
Oh
will even
yeah.
help you at all, being
And I
six
got the high.
seven.
It's got that high center of gravity. Yeah, and I got some vestibular issues from a balancing standpoint. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I've got mine, but I do love I love it. No, it's just a little. He's just going to run a little glance route right here. It's just a tiny. It's no big deal. It's nothing. It's just we shouldn't even pay attention. I don't even know why I'm talking about it.
How much are we going to all hear that this weekend now? Just a little
I might
whatever.
only say
Now
little
it's
on
like when you're
everything.
looking for a new car.
Uh,
No, it's
I throw things at my television when the quarterback is sitting in the pocket and just look at him just buy time in the pocket back there. So Julian's saying just buying
buy
time in the pocket.
here's my favorite as a player. Hey boys, give me some time right here. Oh, okay. Because up until now, I wasn't even thinking about that. Is that what were we supposed to be doing that before? Holy crap. Okay, you need
Wow.
time on this one? That seems kind of greedy.
Because it's not just a
Do
little
your
route
job, man.
anymore,
Call the play.
Stench. It's not just a little route anymore. Now it's a big route,
No,
so we need some actual
No, it's
time.
a big
it's a
old,
big
a
route.
big
Hey,
old
I'm
slug,
gonna need a little.
a big old dig.
Give me a little time. Give me a little time.
No,
No problem. Like
first
how
of all,
little?
that's not
How
what
about
we
a second
say.
and a half?
How
That's not
little?
what we say. We say, hey, this one's gonna take a little time right here. Not we need a little time. This one's gonna take a little time, boys. Hold up. That's it. So don't go and freaking jump the D tackle. Maybe just allow the pass rush to come to you instead of cutting the D end. I mean, I know you guys only hear one word of the play call, but we are supposed to remind you that not all act protection, not all 50 protection, not all, heavy 8-man, 7-man protection is going to be out. It might take a little time. So I'm sorry for just giving you a little reminder. Not everybody's a academic Heisman.
Wow.
Well, I can let you
Wow.
know. I'll throw this out there. I promise you don't want us to just let Cassius Howell come to us. That's not the pass rush you want to let for us to just absorb back there.
Oh, don't worry.
Just
I
let
won't
it come
have
to
either
you.
one of y'all. I won't have either one of you guys in one-on-one with Cassius. I'm going to give you some help. I can promise you
I don't
that.
think you
We're
want
gonna get
me
you a little chip.
getting a little extra depth against Ndamukong Suh's bull rush. Just let it come to you. Just let that pass rush come to you. That won't end well. I can assure you.
Hey, I'll say this. I've heard Greg do games, and he's got a healthy respect for the challenge. I think the offensive line has. I think you called out. Gosh, now I can't remember who it was, but his depth in the pocket. He's literally at the what is it,
12?
the top or the bottom of your drop. He's standing at like 11 yards, and you're like,
Yeah.
God bless you, kid. If you get grilled on this one, and he did, you deserve it. I mean, who? Show me the Tony Basilli, Jonathan Ogden that can pull that off.
I will always, if a guy's too deep in his drop and the tackle gets run around, I will always try to. Now, if the tackle completely whiffs, yes, I don't care how deep the guy is in his drop. Like, if you don't touch the guy, we got problems. But in the event in which a sack or a pressure is given up because a guy is too deep in his drop, I will acknowledge it on the broadcast because I have a healthy respect for tackles. I do not have a healthy respect for interior offensive linemen.
We know.
Wow.
We're fully aware. Stints, the kid
Just block them. How hard can it be?
Stints, the kid who came in for Georgia might be the only one at left tackle that has a slight chance to be able to pull that one off because I think his wingspan's like 42 feet. The kid is 6'10", 360 or whatever. He might have an opportunity at that.
He can do it?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, he could probably pull it off. Nice length. Got to have that length on the edge. How
Gotta
about
have
Greg?
it.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess guard to guard, those guys are just like faceless, nameless blobs of humanity. The ball just emerges from the center of the offensive line. I'm not sure how. I don't really even know what these guys are doing. These tackles, they're the delicate geniuses of the offensive line. The other three are just, I guess, required. We don't have to play with 11. You can play with 8.
In a perfect world, we'd be in arena football, and the guards would actually be your tackles.
Come on.
But we have seen some new formations though, where tackles are split wide, and it is actually guard to guard.
It's because
I've
the
seen it quite a
athleticism.
bit this year.
They're so
I've
athletic.
seen it quite a bit this year. So I honestly,
They're throwing the football.
I think you're only, and we actually talked about this with Grubb last week. said the offense will only be as good as their guards. In all seriousness, like you can make a case that guard is the position that best determines the floor of the offense. Tell me that. Do you agree with that?
God, it's tough and super interesting because I feel like the tackles have
that ceiling.
There's more of a death wish on a tackle whiff than there is a guard whiff a lot of times. Guards.
I don't know about that.
Guards can get you blown up, but I don't feel like guards get you killed as much. I mean, ask Blake Shapen.
A big whiff by a guard, you're dead. You got no shot.
I don't know. States, where are you?
I would say, it depends on your offensive system, but you could argue that you look at the way Denver plays, where the whole goal is to set a wall, a really, really deep pocket, so that your quarterbacks, at least, inside out, so they can step into the throws. Same was true at New Orleans. Takes the pressure off of the tackles. So I do think, if you're really good at tackle, that's great and all, but if you can't win inside out, then that's a tough way to lose. I can find ways, I think, to protect my tackles from a play call standpoint. But if I got guards that can't hold up, I'm not going to be able to run the football, number one. And from a protection standpoint, you either win fast or you lose fast inside, and that's and it takes away most of the scramble yards if you're mobile at quarterback, because you got to escape through the pocket, not around the pocket. So, I'm on board with that one. I do think there's a distinction there where it's that right guard position, because most quarterbacks are right-handed. We talk about that left tackle being on an island. A lot of times, if you're facing an even front, that right guard is on an island. That might be the toughest pass protection spot in a slide protection offense along the offensive front. It's not the left tackle. He's probably getting help. It's that right guard that has to set up and keep the depth of the pocket, and he's playing one-on-one. And if you're a good D coordinator, you put one of your better rushers on an obvious passing down on the interior line. So, that right guard, those guards, I think there's a certain level of underappreciation. I can't figure out what Greg. So where do you stand on it, Greg? You just went from it doesn't matter, I just like the tackles, and then Grubb's talking about that might determine how good your offense can be.
I think it makes a lot of sense when you really look at it that way. If you have major liabilities at guard, your offense's floor will be really low. Because if those guys can't properly execute a double team, if those guys can't secure the initial surge from the defense, if you are weak guard to guard, you got major problems. If you have average play guard to guard, you're in pretty good shape. If you have elite play guard to guard, you could have one of the best offenses in the country. Seriously. So I think that I think it's a very, very important position that probably doesn't get enough love.
I would like to let the record reflect. So you're treating the center like he's just a clerk. Is that what's happening?
No, he's along for the ride. I think the center is kind of melded into – because how good is a guard without a good center? You kind of have to have all three. It's not like you can have one of the three spots is good. No shot. Like you put Quentin Nelson at right guard – or Quentin Nelson, not Quentin Williams Nelson, different guy. You put Quentin Nelson at one guard, you put me at the other guard. Doesn't matter how good he is, I'm going to have my hands full. The offensive line as a whole is going to have their hands full. So I think you have to kind of have all three that are at. If you have a high floor guard, and I'm seeing this with Texas, by the way, this is what has led me to this conclusion and what led to the conversation last week with Grubb. Texas, for example, went with the true freshman, super talented kid at left guard in the first 7 games of the season. Super talented, high ceiling kid. Low floor, though. So as a result, the floor for the offense in general was problematic, and that's why on their worst day they got crushed against, say, Florida. So if you might not have the ceiling now that they've moved Cole Hudson to left guard, inserted Connor Robertson at center. They don't have the ceiling that they had beforehand, but their floor is a lot higher. Therefore, the offense's floor is a lot higher. Therefore, it's a little bit more predictable going forward. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I got to tell you, Cole, I feel like we've rehabilitated this entire offensive line conference, other than the center hate, which is completely unwarranted. I feel like we've gotten to a good place. This is almost like an offensive line intervention.
To an extent, yes, other than we haven't addressed quarterbacks just buying time in the pocket. Other than that, yes, we're good. So
when you guys bat 1,000, and we can stand back there with the clean pocket all day long, fine. But you're telling me that name a game in which a guard has batted 1,000 ever.
Name a game a quarterback batted 1,000.
You don't, but we at least acknowledge our own flaws. Instead, you guys want to blame quarterback slow. Get rid of ball. All right, the guy got home in 2.2 seconds. What do you want me to do?
Acknowledge our own flaws.
Change the
If
protection.
if there was a position that if the only thing you can hope for, the closest thing to an attaboy is not getting blowtorch cussed out to where you have no more eyebrows on the sideline, it's offensive line. Where it's like, oh, okay, he didn't come over. I still have a face. Wow, we must have had a good series right there.
Matt, we appreciate the time today. This was much better than we ever anticipated. Thank you so much.
Y'all are fun. All right, guys. See ya.
The floor is higher with a good offensive line conversation. So I'm glad to have Stinch on with us.
100%. Join us on the Higginbotham hotline. Matt Stinchcomb of the SEC Network. More on all of that next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Listen online, jocksfm.com, apps in your app store, iPhone, Android. Download it for free. Watch live on YouTube. Search Jocks945. We'll continue some of those conversations that we had already had throughout the course of the show today. Before we move on, we got to get to one thing, and that is that the holiday season is approaching, and you all need to know about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberg's is the absolute go-to this time of year. This is a big time for our family. We have multiple birthdays, multiple things that you need to purchase here in November and December, and Bromberg's is like my second home this time of year. So celebrate gift-giving season with an unforgettable gift from Bromberg's. From dazzling diamonds and designer jewelry to luxury watches and fabulous giftware, there's something for everyone on your list. As Alabama's leading jeweler since 1836, Bromberg's has helped make Christmas wishes come true for multiple generations. And with complimentary gift wrap in their signature silver box, you'll give a gift they'll treasure forever. Visit Bromberg's in Mountain Brook and at the Summit, and you can always shop online at brombergs.com.
All right, so we're talking about this Auburn offense a moment ago. I thought it was interesting what Stinch said about this maybe being the worst time possible for a bye week for Auburn. G-Mac, I haven't really thought of this way. We also got a question early in the show on Jackson Arnold. Can you trust him this weekend? I think you may have to, because I think now with all the discussion around it, the talk around it, with Hugh Freeze trying to sort of sell Ashton Daniels on it, and now maybe his family wanting it, I think if he wants that red shirt, you have to offer him that. You also want to get Deuce Knight some reps in this game. So Auburn, with how their defense is playing and how they ran the ball last week, with the tempo helping a little bit, I think you have to be able to bank on him in this matchup. I don't think that's even a question, and I don't think it should be that much of an issue, G-Mac.
No, I don't think so at all. I think it's very important to, at this point, take a look at the bigger picture and do right by the players. I'm not saying you have to sacrifice anything. Winning is the ultimate goal. And there's still plenty of big opportunities sitting in front of the Auburn Tigers, but winning is the ultimate goal. And nothing is going to change my mindset on that. But it is still important to do right by the players. And for example, I can remember this example like it was yesterday. We're playing in Shreveport in 2006 season. So Mike Shula had gotten fired. Joe Kynes had taken over as the offensive coordinator. And I had redshirted my freshman year. But we had lost Jimmy Barnes. I believe Jimmy Barnes got hurt in he got hurt in bowl practice. And then we lost Mark Gillen, who left the team earlier in the year, meaning that it was John Parker and me were the only two scholarship quarterbacks. So they basically said, Joe Kynes came up to me and said, hey, we want you to get all the 2 reps. We want you to develop and get better. But there's no way you're playing in this football game. We got to do right by you. You've waited 12 games. We're not going to blow your red shirt in a game against Oklahoma State in the Independence Bowl. So they started to give some reps to a walk-on guy that would have gone in the event in which John Parker couldn't finish the game. So I think in an interim situation, while it's very, very important to try to still win and position the team accordingly, you also have to do right by the players, and I would imagine that Durkin and company will do that.
Well, and that's where the other side of what Stinch is saying could actually benefit Auburn, having the extra time to prepare for this. More reps for Deuce Knight, more reps for Jackson Arnold, and that gets them ready for that spot. I mean, we're talking about this like it's the A&M defense coming into town. I mean, it's still Mercer. I'll take you back to my position meetings at Auburn. Mercer, use Auburn. Circle Auburn. I mean, that's just
get your pump.
Yeah, get your pump before we go out there. Show them what you got. But it shouldn't be an issue. Mercer is 8-1. Give them all the credit for that. A difficult loss to Presbyterian early in the season. Actually, technically week 1 for them as the UC Davis game was canceled. So on a bit of a run here. And is that going to be problematic? Not really sure. Because I don't think a lot of us have seen a lot of the tape on Mercer, but I think Auburn should be okay there. And you want to get those 2 some reps. And if you can save a redshirt year for Ashton Daniels, whoever the coach is next year, and he wants to come back and be a part of that football team, and it's an offense that he's a fit for, you want to be able to potentially – this is where Ashton Daniels wanted to play. If you didn't hear the story during the Kentucky game, his dad played at Georgia, but his dad was mentored by his uncle growing up who played at Auburn. Actually passed away while he was playing at Auburn. Worshipped him, wanted to be at Auburn. Was given his Letterman's jacket after he passed away. It's just that family has an affinity for Auburn. Like, that's where he wanted to be originally and now. So if you can help preserve that and you can get him back next year as a starter, as the number 2, as the emergency, as a tutor, whatever that is, playing quarterback in your room, Greg, there's a ton of value there.
100%. It's enormous. And I think having a guy that cares and wants to be there and values the opportunity is not something that can be understated given the time of transition that Auburn's currently going through.
I agree. All right, so plenty of college football to get to today with some of the things that are happening. We haven't gotten to a lot of maybe what's coming up this weekend, maybe even a full look back at last week in a couple of those games. But I did want to talk a little bit more about the college football playoff rankings. We will hear from Mac Rhodes on the other side next, right here on Jocks. All right, so Clue is coming to the BJCC.
Clue, the board game?
I believe so. It's listed as a new comedy. Is it a show or a movie? Or do you just go play the game? John, you're a resident media rights expert.
Brand new multi-million-dollar musical.
Why
I don't know
you-
if it's a musical.
You look
actually, but-
disappointed that we might be making fun of it.
No. I mean, it can't be better than the movie, but
Oh, there's a movie too?
it's been out for a little bit.
How
yeah.
do you make a movie out of a board game? Jumanji, I guess?
Yeah, ask Robin Williams.
Jumanji rips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. What's the greatest board game all time?
Oh.
I think Monopoly's going to be
like-
people's easy answer.
Yeah, but you're not counting like chess and checkers, right?
Those are board
That's a
games.
board game.
Chess, then. I don't even play, but chess would probably be the number one.
I have to disagree. Too
You're
complicated.
going what? Oh, it is complicated, but I'm saying like universally, I would say chess is probably number one. Checkers probably number two. Monopoly probably number three. If we're gonna ask,
Well, you're
people's
saying
opinion.
popularity or games people play.
yeah, I think just widespread popularity.
What is your number one board game of all time? How about that?
My favorite.
Damien just hit it. Go ahead. Open the mic up for Damien.
Is Mahjong a board game, Greg?
No, that's basically like a card game. I think that falls more under the. It's
Wait
a
minute,
little bit
there's no
like
cards, are there?
Tiles.
no,
close
but
enough.
it's strategy like where you're trying to create a great hand. Like it's points attributed. I mean, I think Mahjong is definitely more. It falls under the card game realm. It's more like poker than it is Monopoly. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
So no, I don't think that qualifies.
John,
Number
best
one board game
yeah,
for
you.
me is
What-
probably Life. I like Life.
okay. Say Bear?
I don't think it's checkers.
Just because it's easy and anybody can play and you can play anytime almost, it feels like.
It's universal.
Yeah. I don't hate that. I'm a big Chutes and Ladders guy myself.
Oh boy, here we go.
Candyland, also great.
I haven't played Candyland in so long. Goodness gracious.
I would hope not.
Yeah. I don't think I've played that in 30 years.
Although
so
you
I
might
really
in a,
don't remember.
You might in a
it.
couple of years.
Trouble, big fan.
Not a huge Trouble guy.
I liked Sorry growing up.
Sorry was good too.
Yeah.
Sorry was
Sorry,
good too.
not bad.
May or
Yeah.
may not have swiped the whole board a couple times in a loss.
Can't see that. Can't see that happening. No, that would never happen.
Yeah, the losing skills were not good as a child. I'll admit that. Not proud of it.
I can't talk
Dealing with it
anybody into
again right
life.
in front of me as we speak with a couple others when I was that age.
Fair enough. I can't talk anybody into Life.
I don't think I've ever played it. Seriously.
It's in my top 5.
Oh,
Greg.
it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's fun.
Most overrated Monopoly.
The problem with Monopoly is how time consuming it is. Like
It
you
takes
can't
forever.
you can't just sit down and play a quick game of Monopoly.
Yes.
No.
And a lot of these that we're mentioning, I realize are not like you can't play one in 5 minutes, but and I don't think all ages are easily involved either.
No. Yeah.
It gets complicated fast. And so, like my 10-year-old, I could probably get her playing it pretty quick, but like the 8 and 5-year-olds, they're going to check out that thing in 2 minutes.
Especially
Be
if
done.
they have to keep track of the money.
Yeah, they're going to be done.
Whew.
Well, the 8-year-old would just spend
Ooh.
every dime he had on the first roll, and he'd be done. 5-year-old would sit there and try to analyze every single thing for 32 minutes on every spin, every roll, whatever. So it's just actually, you know what? We'd probably be fighting over the pieces, and we would never get
That's
started
Probably right.
because nobody's going to want to be the thimble. That used to be the big deal. I don't even remember what the pieces were, but nobody wanted to be the thimble. Everybody
Ooh,
wanted to be
the thimble.
What I don't even remember what the other ones were. Like a soccer ball, what were the original pieces?
Yeah, it's sad what
Gosh,
they've
you
done
have-
to him now because
A thimble, a car,
Thimble's gone.
Yeah, the car was one
a
that
top
everybody wanted.
hat.
Nobody wanted a top hat.
Yeah, the terrier, like a little dog.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
dog.
There was
Yeah.
one other that was cool, I thought, that we always wanted as a kid.
Is the
Gosh, I
Battleship
don't
one of
remember.
them?
Those are the only three that I remember.
They have a penguin now.
Sure.
Oh heck yeah!
Oh, there was a wheelbarrow. There's a battleship. You're right. A shoe, an iron, the top hat, the horse,
Oh, an iron. Good call. I forgot about the iron.
and what was that? Is that like a what do you call the Rumpelstiltskin thing, where you got stabbed with it or whatever? The big wheel that you spin the stuff.
The big wheel that you spin with stuff.
Yeah, that you know what I'm talking about.
The Sleeping Beauty thing.
Maybe. Yeah.
Spindle?
Yeah. Sure. I don't know what it's called.
I don't remember that.
I'd have said it if I'd have knew what it was called. It's a big wheel with like a stick hanging off of it.
They have a T-Rex now.
Better than this thing.
And a rubber ducky.
There's a rubber duck?
Oh, that's a cannon? It doesn't look like a cannon. It's pointing straight up in the air. It's like a big cannon. Cannon, thimble, top hat, iron, battleship, boot. Later in 1936, the race car was added to the 6 token sets. And then about the middle of 36, the purse was added to make it an 8 token set. How many sets they sell in 1936, you think? Where they're sitting there, we got to add more pieces.
How many other board games are out in 1936?
What else were people doing? Reading the newspaper?
Right.
Listening to the radio?
Not even that, I don't think, a whole lot.
Ooh, Fire's on TV. Let's watch.
No, let's play Monopoly again. There's not enough pieces. People are allowed to have multiple kids now.
Yeah, because nobody had kids in the 20s.
All right, so listen, while we are not talking about football here for a second, I need to know what we make of what is potentially coming. And are we worried about it?
What, snow?
Not just snow.
Oh.
No. A lot more than that.
Oh, boy.
We back to Clue again?
No, just apparently this gigantic snowstorm that's on the way. Buffalo could see over 100 inches of snow. No, to our country, the northern.
Oh, okay.
Half of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't plan any trips to Buffalo this week.
Okay,
when is it coming?
Okay, Bristol.
No, it's a long way from here. Kinda. They're prepared for it up here. I think you can live with it up here. However, down south, a little bit tougher to accommodate.
And I don't think it's coming this way, but the thing I thought was weird is this thing's going to hit, and it's going to be 75 in Como Saturday.
Yeah.
For the game. I expected to have to bundle up for this one, but apparently no. We're going to be good. And is this supposed to trickle down this way at all?
Probably not.
I don't look at the weather unless I have to do a game. That's about it. All right, when we come back, we'll talk some more college football next on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Weather conversation died quickly. Board game conversation died quickly. We'll just go back to college football. Those were big whiffs today. We have Brian Haydad coming up at 9 a.m. this morning. We will talk to him about Mississippi State, where they are with their quarterback situation heading into the Missouri game on the road. Alabama gets Oklahoma. As we head into this game this weekend, G-Mac, what aspect of this could be most problemsome for the Tide? As we all know, they went out there in the SEC championship game. They get to the SEC championship game. I think they're in the college football playoff. Regardless, what has to happen first and foremost for Alabama to be competitive and maybe win this game?
I think the first thing they need to do is they absolutely need to secure the front. I mean, that to me is number one. When you look at how they performed against LSU, Tennessee, and South Carolina, I feel like there were a lot of negative plays created against them, which in turn got them off schedule, which in turn made it hard for them to string together drives the way they have in the past. Now, can that be addressed? Potentially, but this is a tough team for a, quote, get-right recipe when taking into account how this group can really gap penetrate. So answer me this. How confident are you in the offensive line holding up against this defensive line?
Not very, but I also think that there is a part of what Alabama does that can offset that to an extent, and that is throws to the backside of the backfield, that is moving the pocket, that is quick throws to the wide receivers that can become bigger gains, explosive plays. So I think there are ways around it. I think the good news for Alabama is that they don't have to go right at the teeth of it to be successful offensively. There are other things that they can do that they're good at, that they can avoid some of it. Now, doesn't mean you can avoid all of it. I mean, you're going to have times where Ty Simpson needs a little bit of time in the pocket. You may have to go and remove some of those longer developing plays like the play action that we liked so much last week.
Well, help me out with this. Like, I think Ty Simpson can get the ball out. I think the weapons can win this week for sure. But one, we don't know the current availability status of R. Mason Thomas. The first injury report will be released in 12 minutes? In hour and 12 minutes. I think it's like 10 o'clock on Wednesday. That's when it usually comes out, the first one. So we'll know the health and availability of R. Mason Thomas here hopefully very soon. That will indicate a lot for this team because that's a legitimate dynamic difference maker off the edge, especially on third down. So how much does Alabama's offensive plan adjust if R. Mason Thomas is not out there?
I don't think still with what's left on the field, I don't think you can go out there and alter too much in many different ways. You still have to deal with David Stone, Grayson Halton. I think you still have to deal with other edge defenders and linebackers that can line up in different places and be problematic. He's great, and he does different things off the edge well, but I just think collectively there's too many that can individually hurt you for you to change your protections one way or the other.
Yeah.
To support in extra ways if he is in, I don't even think you can do that. I mean, maybe at times in certain alignments, but one, you're going to get things stacked up in the A gaps. You're going to get things stacked up to one side. You're going to get things stacked up in the B gaps. You're going to get overloads to over guards and tackles. Like I just don't think that this is a defense that you can spend an extra amount of time, get overly concerned about individuals because there's going to be too many things happening in too many other places. It'll be right. Just like Missouri last week where you're setting the protection to Cassius Howell and you're worried about Cassius Howell and you're getting bodies to Cassius Howell and then they jam you up in the other spots. And this has been going on for years. I said it on the podcast. I said Monday night on Read and React. It's exactly what Bob Stoops did to us when he was at Florida with Alex Brown. He had like 7 sacks against Tennessee 2 or 3 weeks earlier. Everyone was losing their mind about him. We were terrified. We went in there, slid it to him, backs to him, put extra people his way. He never even rushed. He dropped every play. So, I mean, we didn't have it figured out. We didn't have iPads. We didn't have it figured out until second half, and it was too late. So I just think that there's too much movement, too many individuals that can hurt you, that if you spend an extra amount of time pushing things to one player, they're going to get you in the other spots because you're weakening yourself in the other spots, and they're too good everywhere else.
Fair. And I think it's very hard to anticipate going and and figuring out what a guy's doing. And if you pay too much attention to one guy, that kind of cripples your offensive plan, in my opinion. Like, I think that becomes even more challenging in some cases than just playing it straight up and protecting both sides and both tackles. The other thing I think is interesting is that R. Mason Thomas almost exclusively rushes off the left, right? He doesn't rush off the right very much. I don't feel like I see him off the right very much. Do you?
Maybe occasionally he'll get over there.
I don't know. I feel like it's mostly off the left. I haven't charted it, but it feels like it's mostly off the left, which means, all right, Caden Proctor's got to be a big game for you. That's got to be real important. But if I were Oklahoma, I'd probably try to rush him off the right, and I would run a challenge that right side of the offensive line as opposed to the left. So that's another conversation worth watching. The other thing I would say is, how much will Oklahoma dedicate from a resource standpoint defensively to stopping the run? We know, first and foremost, this is a defense, and like most head coaches that are defensive guys, stopping the run is like a point of pride. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it takes, they're not running it on us, no matter what. So, does Venables feel like he needs to roll an extra safety into the box to help with the run game, or does he think that his front four can stop it by itself? I think is a big indicator.
Yeah, based on what I've seen, I don't think he will. I mean, let's be honest, we're going to get a little bit of everything, I think. But as far as the overall game plan, I don't see him adding a lot of extra bodies to slow the run down. I see him adding extra bodies to try to confuse Ty Simpson and maybe bring pressure at different times just for overall disruption, but just in basic run support. Because the other thing, too, that you think about with Oklahoma, like those safeties do a good job adding late. So I don't think you always have to necessarily dedicate them to being guys that are just always playing in the box, because they can show up a little bit later, and I think they do a pretty good job with that. So I don't think that you'll see 8, 9, 10 in the box near the line of scrimmage a whole lot unless they're looking to pressure. I think that you're probably a little bit more concerned about Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, and company as far as what they can do to you outside and down the field. Yeah,
perfectly fair. How would you characterize the importance of safety play in this game? Because I don't think either safety for Oklahoma is outrageous when it comes to coverage. I also think that they're decent at corner. I don't think they're elite. I think this could be a big Isaiah Horton game because they have shown some challenges with guys that have length because their corners are not crazy tall. So a guy with length could be important in this game. But do you think they can cover those guys across the board?
No, I don't feel good about that at all. And I'll still go back to the question that we asked weeks ago. How good is the Oklahoma secondary? Do we even know yet? I'm not sure we do.
No.
Because I just don't know. Because of that front seven, how much have they truly been tested?
Yeah.
And that's a great place to be. That if you can sit back and say, we don't even know how good our safeties and corners may be in coverage because they don't have to cover that long. Because we get to the quarterback and we disrupt and we cause problems. So, do I think they're great? No. Do I think that they probably go into games thinking they're going to have to hold up in coverage for a long time? I don't. Now, I will say, like, when you go back and watch the Auburn game there's some plays that they're in man and you're like, all right, they're holding up. You know, they're in phase. They're good. Like, nobody's open. I've seen a lot of games where, because that was the conversation coming out of the Auburn-Oklahoma games. Get the ball out, get the ball out, get the ball out. Should have, but also, and I'm not saying that it was the most complex route scheme, just a lot of little stick routes, a lot of little slants there. But I have seen games in which they've been good in coverage. So
yeah, I think they're fine in coverage. I don't think they have issues, but I do think they're so benefited by an elite pass rush that it's hard to really know, kind of like what you said. Like if they ever had to hold up for whatever reason for 3 seconds and the pass rush was not effective, and that, by the way, I think this pass rush can be effective against just about anybody, then I don't know. You know, but I did see aspects of Alabama's protection. I do feel like Alabama's protection is trending in the right direction. Do you see it that way or no?
It's better than it was a couple games earlier in the year, but it still has its issues, its holes. The good news for Bama may be the last two passing performances against Oklahoma have been the best two of the year. And that's Ole Miss and Tennessee. 315 and 393. The only two teams to throw for over 300. Auburn was the only other team to throw for over 200 against Oklahoma. So it has been pretty good. All right, more on that game. What is the Mississippi State quarterback situation going to look like when they go to Como this weekend? They're trying to get bowl eligible. We'll discuss that game and more with Brian Haydad next, right here